Guys, there's a reason you're not being productive. There's a reason you're struggling with your time. There's a reason that you feel a little bit too busy each and every day. And you're trying to figure out what is going on and why are things out of control and why are things not progressing at the speed that you want them to. And today, we're going to talk a little bit about time management. We're going to talk a little bit about getting yourself in order, putting the priorities in place the way that you need to in order to advance to where you want it to be. So if you struggle with time, if you are having issues being a little too busy, but not seeming to actually get anything done, if productivity is a frustration that you have, if your partner, your loved one, your family members are saying you're never available, well, then let's talk a little bit about it, shall we? Time is truly important when it comes to all of these things, right? So it is our most precious resource, but more often than not, we misunderstand time and time management. So here you go, guys. This is the reality. Here's the truth. And maybe I'll make this a little bit bigger for you. Look, we don't want to be more productive. What you want is more time. And because we don't properly value the time that we have, we never end up with more. Even when we find ways to work more efficiently, we don't use it wisely. We simply layer in more work. I would argue that more often than not, the reason that you're not super productive is not that, you know, you're confusing when you talk to yourself about what you really want. You don't want to be more productive so you can get more work done, and yet that's what you end up filling it with. And so you get even busier. You want that time so you can have a little more time with family. You want extra time. You want to be more productive so that you can get in your workout, so you can have your time to do your affirmations or your meditation. You want to be more productive so that you can breathe. And instead, we go, oh my gosh, I got a few things off on my checklist. Now what am I going to do? And you start to add things to it. And there are ways throughout the week and your day that you can pick up some of that time back, but part of this turns into the priorities. So we're going to look at it from both a macro and a micro level when we're talking about time. One problem, one way that we misunderstand time is investing in learning. And I see this so often. Now, I can give you guys these slides afterwards so you can read them through, but the upfront costs are real and visible, and like any investment. So we're talking about investing in learning. The biggest investment that you will ever make, the most important investment that you will ever make in this life is what you invest in yourself. So what happens though is when it comes to learning, that future payoff is uncertain. So we skim the surface. We go, I just want to get a baseline of what's here. And we feel like it's going to save us time versus doing the real work. One of the number one skills that I keep saying over and over and over again is the ability to do research, is the ability to find the proper information. Learning how you learn is important. I want you to ask yourselves, and maybe write that down on your paper. Do I know how I learn? Have I learned how I learn? Because some of us haven't. Some of you think you know, but after talking with you, it's not the case. Some people say, well, I've got to see it to know it, but they see it over and over and over again, and they haven't learned it. Because what they really need is they need to read it differently, or it needs to be explained to them a certain way, or they've got to get a little bit more hands-on, or they've got to work with someone as they're doing it. Just seeing it isn't going to be enough. So do you know how you learn? Now, the surface-based approach leads to no improvement in our ability to make decisions. In fact, it may harm us if we think we've learned something for real. That surface learning is a true waste of time. It's just that the link to our bad learning is unclear, so we rarely identify the root cause. A lot of you have done things online a number of times, and now you're here and you're trying to figure out why it's not working yet. And part of it's because all we're doing is surface learning. And we're not trying to actually pick up a skill or understand it enough that I can outsource it properly. Because even if I'm going to outsource it, I still have to know what's going on. Right? I'm in the process of interviewing 2 brand new virtual assistants. So I've got to know exactly what I want them to do, or else I can't train them and I can't expect them to do the job. How many of you guys have walked into work at any given time and you have a new manager there? Or maybe it's someone that's been around for a while, and that manager goes to give you a task and you get it done because you've been doing it for 10 years. and they come along and they go, you know, you should be more efficient, or here's the way that it's written out that you should do it. And you look at how it's written out and you go, yeah, so that's the way that corporate wants me to do it. Here's the way that's efficient. It's going to cut down half the time. We're going to avoid injury. We're going to make sure I get this done within the timeline that you're actually giving me. They go, nope, we want it done this way. And that manager's never actually done it. They've only done kind of that surface learning. And you kind of shake your head. You go, you want it done your way? Okay, fine. And then after a little while, they come back. They go, Curtis, Ernie, Nancy, why is it taking you so long to do your work? You go, well, you told me you wanted me to do it the way that you want it done. So instead of being efficient with it, I'm doing it your way. We need to go beyond surface learning, at least in some categories, guys. If you want to be successful here, there are certain elements that you've got to learn at a deeper level. Now, human behavior and the psychology behind why people do certain things, it's one of the reasons I tell you need to read books, and why Cash Flow Quadrant is so great and all of these other elements. Because if I understand human behavior, then it helps me with my marketing. I can tell if a headline is going to actually grab a hold of someone's attention and their emotions, or if I'm simply coming off as a billboard saying, buy my stuff, right? There are certain things that you need to learn. Part of the reason that you've been wasting time throughout your life is all you've been doing is surface learning, and you haven't really gotten into it. Here's a couple of quotes. We all know our money isn't infinite, yet we end up treating our time and energy and attention as if they are. Time and energy are not infinite, ladies and gentlemen. You get to decide where your time goes. You can either spend it moving forward, or you can spend it putting out fires. You decide. And if you don't decide, others will decide it for you. If you're not going to plan your life, if you're not going to take control, I promise you someone will. You got to decide when it's going to be yours. So time equals life. Therefore, waste your time and waste of your life, or master your time and master your life. Time isn't money, guys. Time is life. Time is everything. Now, everybody knows this, and these are averages, and I know everyone here is concerned with their health, and so they're going to be around a lot longer than this, right? A lot longer. And honestly, I think these are a bit skewed still. I think the numbers move. It's been trending higher and higher over the last few years, and it's going to continue. But one of the things that's important is our relationships. When we look at time, we misunderstand our relationships. We're always too busy to spend time with the ones that we care about. And you need to stop and take a look and go, well, how old am I? How much more time do I have with the loved ones that I have? And I'm going to do what I need to do to generate the time I need to be able to spend my time with them. Okay. So one of the key elements when I was looking at time management over and over and over again, looking at all these different ideas, I only saw one person talk about this. If you've been around on any of my videos, you know how important I think self-awareness is. If time management is an issue that you have, you've got to first become self-aware. It's the ability to take an honest look at your life without any attachment to being right or wrong, good or bad. If you're struggling trying to figure out where your day is going, if you sit and you look at your schedule, look at your schedule for today, look at your schedule for tomorrow, look at your schedule for the last week, for the last month. Try to think of some of the places where time has been spent, where others have taken, control of your time, or where you've wasted time. Being aware of where you put your time, being aware of what you're doing on a regular basis, being aware of who you give the power to throughout the day will either empower you and say, look, I've really got this, or it'll wake you the hell up so you can make the changes that you need to. All right. So next, self-awareness. Next, here we go. We're going to make a development plan. You got to think of for yourself. So a couple of quotes: excellent time management. You get more living out of life, more time for the people and the things that you enjoy. A man who dares to waste an hour of time has not discovered the value of his life. Okay, this was from the Roman philosopher Seneca. It's not that we have a short space of time, but that we waste much of it. Lack of direction, not lack of time, is the problem. We all have 24-hour days. Okay, so first thing you need to do is kind of think about where you want to get to. first thing is become self-aware. Then you start to create some goals. Then we create a plan to achieve those goals. All right. Now, getting into a little bit more of the micro. So our daily activities. Quote that I love from James Lawrence, the Iron Cowboy, is the ability to handle the day-to-day monotony is an underrated superpower. You still have to do certain things every single day. You just got to do them. So run the day or it's going to run you. Every single day, you make a tremendous amount of decisions. Your willpower, typically in the morning, is going to be stronger to make those decisions than it will be later on in the day. If you don't control your time throughout the day, or if you're constantly fatigued because time is weighing into those moments when you should be getting some exercise, or it's messing with your sleep patterns, or it's causing stress with family, which causes other issues. If you don't take control of that, everything falls down like a house of cards. And so, this, some will master and some will serve. That's something that I've talked about before. That was a phrase that was kind of given to me by my therapist. These pictures of the kids scrubbing the deck. He said, seems like at some point you woke up and you were scrubbing the deck on the ship of your life, and someone else was at the helm. Someone else was making all those decisions. Now, I didn't gain power back to be able to manage myself, my goals, and my time until I understood that they hadn't taken control over me. And some of you guys are kind of upset or playing the victim of other people. Well, someone messed up my Facebook account. I got hacked into my email. I signed up for this program and this didn't happen. Or I had this issue at work, or I have this family member that's taken up all of my time and effort, and there's so much drama. No, they're not taking anything, guys. You're giving it to them. Now, some of you guys are giving it to them because it goes beyond, and because I am not a trained psychologist, I'm not diving deep into this, but it goes beyond just a level of empathy and turns into a level of codependence. There is something there that's broken in that relationship. Some of you guys give up that control to work or Facebook. I mean, I've gotten some emails over the last little bit. Here's the thing, from members to people that I have worked with, clients, friends, excuses over just the last like 72 hours, right? Facebook's deleted this account, or I would have done it, but this other project came up and they asked for a rush job. I got in a fight, and so I started, I got into drinking, went off a bender. Oh, I hurt myself, but I don't even know how I did it. But there was this argument and that argument. Oh, I'm having to move out. This person's having this issue. And all of these problems, every single person that I spoke to or that gave me these excuses, and look, I've done this over and over, guys. I'm not, I'm not pure white and innocent in this regard. But every single person that was experiencing an issue during this last little bit, every one of them gave up control over their life, their decision, and their day, and gave it to someone else, or placed the power of that decision and the power of their actions in someone else's hands, and said, well, I did it because they forced me to. Essentially, I can't overcome it because they're blocking me, as opposed to taking it back and saying, power is in my hand. And the amount of time wasted in our lives when we do that, it would stagger the mind if you really thought about it. So one thing, block out your time, start to plan your breaks, because you need to take breaks, guys. Next, think on paper, plan it out, write it out. Miracle Morning for Entrepreneurs talks about savers. One of those things is scribing every morning. We talk about writing out affirmations. We talk about writing out goals. We talk about planning our day, all of these things, but one bite at a time, right? Best way to eat an elephant. Make it manageable and take small steps. Next, concentrate on where you are. You got to look at where you are right now. What am I going to have to do today? Well, I've got to come into work. What have I done to prepare myself for that? Am I fully prepared, or am I showing up exhausted? Am I screwing with my sleep, and so it's messing me up now? So I got to pay more attention to that, right? You've got to pay attention to the job at hand. Quit trying to multitask. None of you are good at it. Everybody thinks they are. You're not. Our brain doesn't work that way. Every time you get on a task and then you switch to something else, if you attain some focus on a task that you're working on and then you switch because you got an email or you got a phone call, studies show it takes anywhere between 5 to 35 minutes to get back on task mentally. So stop it. Quit trying to multitask. Unless all you're doing is walking around dusting the house and you got, a podcast in your ears. If you want to do something like that, that's fine. That's not what we're talking about. But there are certain things that you need to be able to focus. Next is quit trying to please everybody. Value yourself, your time, and your limits. And the more you start to value yourself, the more you start to value your time and your limits, the more that you're going to pay attention to what others are doing in the same thing. You're not going to allow them to not appreciate your time, but you're going to do the same thing for others. You're going to respect theirs. You show up on time. You answer when you should. You don't ask them to do things that you should be doing on your own, unless we're in a delegation mode, right? Different story. So a couple of quick things. Turn off the TV. Look, and I know a lot of you guys aren't big TV people, but they say average is 3 hours a day. So look, just shutting it off. Save yourself an hour a week, right? Group your projects together. So all your emails at once. I do my emails in the morning. I do them in the afternoon. That's about it. Unless I get something that says urgent, like then I'll pay attention to it. But other than that, that's it. Okay. Phone calls, voicemails, the same thing. I don't just spread them out throughout the day. I've got blocks of time that I do it. I don't answer the phone if people are calling throughout the day, because I get calls all the time. Leave it alone. Move your phone, get it away from you. All right. Next. Get up a few minutes earlier, go to bed if a few minutes. Find that time that works for you. Okay. Don't deprive yourself of sleep, but if you can work in a couple of extra minutes because you're not as mentally fatigued when you sleep, or if you can go to bed and your brain is already relaxed enough so you can fall asleep faster, it ends up giving you more time during the day. Zig Ziglar calls listening to stuff Automobile University. Look, you've got podcasts, audiobooks. If you're driving, because I know a lot of us are sitting at home. If you're driving, you should be listening to things all of the time. If you are home, then there are other moments, you can still find time to listen. Cut your lunch short, 15 minutes, side benefit, you'll lose weight without the dessert. Hire an assistant, let him or her do the small tasks. Look for different ways of doing that. Next, focus. Different people are distracted. Look for what distracts you, get rid of it. Clear out your workspace. If you work near a computer or near a TV for background noise, knock it off, get somewhere else. If, and I realize, I'm talking about certain things and we're looking for best case scenario, because I know some people, you've got kids running around. There's not much you can do about it. It is what it is. Figure out what you can do and when you can do it best. Okay. Planning is one of those things. Fail to plan, plan to fail. Stop and think. What I want you guys to do right now is kind of look at time blocking. Let's see. You can only focus on one thing at a time. By doing what I know needs to be done every day helps me not waste my life. I refuse to be a victim. There you go. I saw was wholesome. I'm at peace with all this in my life. I wish all of you to be so and do so. Good. Time blocking, planning, actions, distractions equals productivity. So what I want you guys to do is kind of think about where your time is slipping away. Be intentional. Absolutely. No. All right. If I'm going to sit down, first thing, because I know I give you guys a lot of stuff to study. So first thing that you're going to do, instead of sitting down and just grazing, we're going to sit down and have a meal intellectually when we learn. Yes. We're going to pay attention to what we're studying. First thing, because that's one of those things that will pay dividends down the road forever, because you'll get better. You won't waste as much time when you're doing things. It's more important than you guys realize, because you can sit down and just think. Okay. Next, look at your day and figure out how you're blocking times out. And if you're looking at what David put there about time blocking, if you're thinking about what I just talked about and you go, what the hell is time blocking? Look it up, study it. Part of this is because studies show over and over, you only have typically people are about 45 to 55 minutes. You can sit and work at any one given thing without your brain starting to slow down, become muddled, and you need a break pretty much every hour. So I'm going to spend the next 3 hours because I'm hardcore. It doesn't work. Your brain won't be productive. You're wasting your time. So 45, 55 minutes. What am I doing right there? 5 to 10 minute break, get up, stretch, become mobile, get some fresh air, get some sunlight, do something. Next 45, 55 minute block. But I'm going to block out that time so that I know what's happening. And I can be, as Carolyn's talking about, I can be intentional while I'm there. I'm sitting down with a purpose to do something and not sitting down and go, now what? Oh, I should probably check my email. Because that's the default for everybody. Or the text. Or I'm going to hop on Facebook real quick and see if anybody commented. That's a waste of time. Too many of you guys are using email and social media. Instead of using them as the tools to build your business, you're using them as something to keep you busy, to fool yourself into thinking you're productive. And you need to stop it. And you're wondering why your business isn't advancing. And that's one of the most basic things. But I'm on Facebook all the time. I'm on there for 2 hours a day, Andrew. I don't know what you're talking about. Really? Okay. So 2 hours, if I'm being strategic about things, that's somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 to maybe 100 different comments on 100 different posts. Is that what you're doing? And did you post 1 or 2 things during those 2 hours? Well, no, but I mean, I was in groups and I was reading a bunch of different things and I was scrolling around. Okay. And what weird quiz did you take, or silly article did you read, or other subscription free trial offer, blah, 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 did you sign up for? Because the amount of times I get an email from someone asking me about this program or this software or that software is supposed to help them with, like, every single day I get something, because we're wasting time. That's shiny object. Well, things aren't working the way I want them to. Maybe if I get this next newest thing, it's going to get me there. Focus yourselves and become more productive. So learning time blocking, right? Spend more time thinking about what you need to take care of your health and your sleep. And I think I'm going to invite Chris back on real soon to kind of talk about that. And actually, if any of you know like a sleep doctor, that's who I'd like to bring on. So I'm throw that out there. I'm going to start looking as well. But the more you pay attention to your health, the more productive you can be, guys. If you're healthy, your brain works. If you're healthy, you have less stress. If you manage your time, you have less stress. You have more time with your family. You're able to take care of your health. You're able to be more productive with your work. So you can step back and go, whew, I'm good. I'm okay. I was productive today. Because every single one of you can be more productive. But don't fall into the trap of becoming more productive and focusing in your time just so you could fit in more work, unless you're not working at all. And we need to find that. So find that balance, guys. Become more self-aware. Think a little bit about that today. Everybody going to spend a little time thinking about their time management, their day, levels of productivity, what they need to do. Yes. Can I get an amen? Give me a hallelujah. Everybody with me? Yes. Good. Awesome. Keep the squirrel out. Hell yeah. All right.